I always thought I would get married when I grow up. And the older I actually get, and the more I actually approach that age that they say is ripe for marriage, I start to wonder, what exactly are we actually signing up for?
The idea of marriage being for life, I guess that idea has kind of gone.
No, I think people. Do you know
Where
what I think?
you people are just flitting about.
No, do you know what I think it is? I don't think people deep what for life is.
Yeah.
But I think they mean for life. But I think people really think that life is short because
It's
everything
long.
right now is shorter. Everything before
Yeah.
everything was long. Like people stay in their job for 20, 30 years. People have their car for time. Everything is like, I'm blaming fast fashion. Everything's moving so quick.
Yeah, it is.
And now because everything's moving quick, that for life is so, it makes it seem like it's so much longer. There's nothing that is even comparable. Before you have a system, you have like, you just, people don't even move, you didn't even move around before. That's your yard. That yard, the house that you had your first kid is the house you're dying in. That doesn't happen right now.
Yeah.
So then when it comes to for life now, that for life is like, it's like a prison sentence for life. It's 12 to
That's
15.
this is why that's why marriage feels like prison, because I'm like, how can I?
No, I mean like,
no, I know what you're saying,
but like a life
But
sentence
yeah.
is 12 to 15, and that's the cap.
So we all grew up believing that marriage is a major life milestone, a romantic ideal of lifelong devotion and partnership. In the Western Christian tradition, as in many other cultures, it's presented as a sacred union, two people standing by each other in sickness and in health, sharing a home, pooling their lives and assets, and raising a family. Throughout this journey, they're expected to show unwavering love, loyalty, and affection. We all know the ideal, steadfast love and partnership for life. But in my observation, real marriages, as I see them around me, often tell a different story. I mean, we all know that divorce rates are high, and even the couples that are not divorced, they seem to just be together out of convenience and comfort, or maybe habit rather than true connection. I grew up with divorced parents, and I have seen people stuck in loveless relationships just because it's easier to just stay rather than starting all over. Cheating is another reality. Many of the single people that you work with or at workplaces, and I know a lot of young ladies can attest to this, you will find out they're actually married. Married people sometimes at workplaces act more single than the actual single people. I feel like love in the honeymoon stage, they feel like very intense in the first couple years, and that is like when the couple is really like together and everyone is happy. But that spark that you feel, it tends to fade. I feel like relationship dynamics then tend to shift in ways that no one has expected and no one is ready for or has been prepared for. Also, coming back to speaking about the reality of marriages in the first place, let me also tie a little bit to the African context. A lot of the aunties and uncles, they tend to stay together for a long time. They tend to be married for 30 or even 40 or 50 years. But as you start to speak with them, and especially when you start to speak with the aunties, you come to find out they have stuck together through immense hardships, and not hardships that come from outside life forces, hardships that they have suffered in the hands of their husbands. When you start talking to some of the aunties, they will tell you stories that all involve emotional, mental, and even physical abuse. And yet they end up staying in the marriages because they are living up to the societal expectations. Now, having seen so many imperfect examples around you in your surroundings, just in real life, you just can't help to wonder, is this really what I want for myself? So, in order to dissect this question, we have to look at many different aspects about this whole thing of getting married and why should we get married and this and that. And the first question that comes to mind for me when dissecting this is that of, do we marry for the right reasons? I often feel we don't. Beyond love, I see so many marriages built on survival, not even marriages, but also relationships built on survival, whether it's financial perks like tax breaks and shared expenses, or choosing a partner simply because they can improve one's economic situation. Also, what you find nowadays a lot with the surge in rent costs and everything, some people literally enter relationships just so that they can share their rent with someone. We also have the case of Nigeria when talking of marrying or being in a relationship for survival, where people are tying the knot more for financial security rather than genuine connection. A lot of women don't always get married to who they love, but for the man that is financially stable and ready to marry them. Then there's social pressure, marrying to tick a cultural or familial box without even pausing to ask, what do I really want? Or why do I want this? We idolize romantic fantasies, the ring, the dress, the perfect wedding, and spend far less time contemplating the everyday work of marriage.
People don't always marry the everyday. They marry the kind of now, kind of wow. And then it gets to the every single day. The going to bed, the waking up, the taking the getting the groceries, taking out the garbage, and loving each other through that. And I remember telling a friend of mine who was about to get married, I said, your marriage doesn't start when you say, I do. Your marriage starts when you look over at your partner and you want to kill them. You looking at them going, for seconds or sometimes minutes or longer, you're thinking, I cannot believe I married this human being. They are driving me crazy. And then the next minute you say, I love them more than anything and I'm sticking with it.
Lifelong monogamy is another question. Can a generation accustomed to instant gratification and endless options truly commit to sexual fidelity for decades? Historically, polygamy was accepted just 2 generations ago. So is monogamy a universal fit or a Western export? Finally, let's not forget marriage's origins, an economic alliance that placed unequal burdens on men and women. Even today, many women over-sacrifice emotional needs while men shoulder heavy financial expectations.
It's not easy for me to admit that I've been standing in the same place for 18 years.
Well, I've been standing with you. I've been right here with you, Troy. I got a life too. I gave 18 years of my life to stand in the same spot as you. Don't you think I ever wanted other things? Don't you think I had dreams and hopes? What about my life? What about me? Don't you think it ever crossed my mind to want to know other men? That I wanted to lay up somewhere and forget about my responsibilities? That I wanted someone to make me laugh so I could feel good? You're not the only one who's got wants and needs, but I held on to you, Troy. I took all my feelings, my wants and needs and dreams, and I buried them inside you. I planted a seed and watched and prayed over. I planted myself inside you and waited to bloom.
So, as I'm approaching the age where the expectation of finding someone grows, I really had to question the concept of marriage for myself, and still I'm currently doing it. But as I'm questioning it, I've also actually already came up with answers for myself as to why I think marriages actually make sense and are actually a beautiful thing.
You know, like, all right, you see, there's a lot of families out there that have like separate homes and then the kids them kind of mess up and things like that. I know with a wife now, she can help build you up. Now, I say a girlfriend can't do that, you know, but like, it more concretized when you have a wife. She can say, all right, babe, you come do this, come start a business, yeah, so. Now, as a girlfriend now, do that. But like, as I said, with a wife, everything more cement, more firm, more stable in comparison to a girlfriend. Because she can get up and go whenever she want. If she feel a way about certain things more than a wife. Now, as a wife, now do that either. But the wife, we kind of stick more firm because there's this commitment made, you know, before God and man. You know what I'm saying?
I like that, brother.
So, one man is really not an island. And life, especially within this current social and economical climate, can just get really, really tough all by yourself. 2 people together are stronger than one. That's facts. Sharing life and its hurdles together with the right person, not with the wrong person, but with the right person, can really relieve you of a lot of stress actually and provide you with a shoulder to lean on whenever you have a bad day. That emotional support is very important, and you can't always rely on your immediate family members to provide this for you for the rest of your life. This is one of the most important reasons I realized about the whole point of partnership or marriage or relationship, and it's just really that of self-development, personal development. Committing to and growing with another human for life means continuous self-reflection, continuous work on yourself, and essentially self-evolution. Honestly, the practice of love is really a spiritual one. and is essentially a commitment to continuous self-development in order to make things work with this other human being that you're sharing the life with. And I always say this, marriage is for people who want children. Apart from any other reasons, if you have the intentions of having kids, marriage is a good way to do it, and it will be a good reason to get married. Marriage is literally the best context in which to raise children. It's a job meant for both parents to work as a team. So that commitment of marriage is very, very important to have, just to ensure and just to have the best foundation there to ensure that the other person is committed to also invest in this family and to also share the responsibility of that family. However, despite all these aspects and advantages of marriage, I do ask myself, are we still, this our generation, talking of Gen Z, Gen Alpha, and so forth, our generation with the way we are now in this day and age, are we still capable of marriage in its traditional sense?
No, do you know what I think it is? I don't think people deep what for life is.
Yeah.
But I think they mean for life. But I think people really think that life is short because everything right now is shorter. Everything was long. Like people stay in their job for 20, 30 years. People have their car for time. Everything is like, I'm blaming fast fashion. Everything's moving so quick.
Yeah, it is.
And now because everything's moving quick, that for life is so, it makes it seem like it's so much longer. There's nothing that is even comparable. Before, you have a system. You have like, you just, people don't even move around before. That's your yard. That yard, the house that you had your first kid is the house you're dying in. That doesn't happen right now.
Yeah.
So then when it comes to for life now, that for life is like, it's like a prison sentence for life. It's 12 to 15.
So here are reasons why I believe or why I doubt our capability of actual marriage in its traditional sense. And one of them is modern distractions such as apps and social media and so forth. It's about attention spans versus depth of commitment. We live in a world of constant stimulation, scrolling, swiping, and endless choice. Dating apps and social media have rewired our attention spans. We are conditioned for quick hits of validation, novelty, and instant gratification. But that mindset doesn't align with what a lifelong partnership actually requires, which is depth, patience, endurance, and commitment. And what I really personally observe is that many people simply don't have the patience anymore to build a deep bond, and not only in relationships romantically, but also friendships and so forth. The slightest atom of boredom or over-familiarity in a relationship building phase can make people to just turn away already. Another point is just the way we are now. As society evolves, more people are choosing to live authentically on their own terms. We're no longer blindly following inherited norms or swallowing dysfunction just because it's been normalized for generations. We've become more emotionally intelligent, and with that, more discerning. We're asking, does this serve me? Does this feel right? And for many, the answer is no, especially when it comes to traditional marriage. In the past, people upheld societal expectations even when it went against their inner truth. Image, duty, and tradition often overweighed personal happiness and compatibility. But today, fewer people are willing to sacrifice authenticity for appearances. We're exploring alternative ways to connect, love, and build a life. So maybe it's not that people are incapable of commitment. Maybe they're just not willing to commit to outdated systems that don't reflect who they truly are. And that leads to a bigger question. Is marriage, in its traditional sense, still relevant in today's age? For some, the answer is still yes. For others, not at all. What matters most now is that people feel free to choose consciously without pressure, shame, or obligation. Because real love can only thrive where there's freedom. So these are the concluding thoughts that I came to after some time or a long time of reflection and self-inquiry about how I feel about the topic of marriage. How do I think about it? What's actually my own unbiased opinion by myself without thinking about what society thinks or how society sees it or how everyone else sees it. I do believe marriage can work, and I do believe that marriage is actually a beautiful thing. But we only, especially in this day and age, have to kind of like redefine what it's really about. First, I think people need to learn how to really love again. From what I understand and I gathered through my humble opinion based on accumulated experience of life, Love is a conscious choice that you make every day, every moment, every second. It's not something that you do for serving only your own needs, but something that you do for serving the benefit of the collective. In the case of marriage, being the couple and the union. Just because. Not because there's anything in it for you, not because it gives you some type of advantage. Love is something that you do just because. It's a decision that you make when times aren't really rosy, but you still choose to stay because of love. I think a lot of relationships and also marriages fail nowadays because a lot of people just don't know how to love anymore, if we ever did in the first place. Secondly, love requires a commitment of self-development. In my book and in my dictionary, love and marriage and partnership essentially is about self-development. I have come to see relationships now as a tool for personal evolution, for self-evolution. As the Bible says, as iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. So by committing to another human being, committing to loving another human being, it requires constant adjustment, constant self-reflection, self-inquiry, constant adjustment of both people in order to make it work. There's also a South African philosophy that I've really loved and that I've learned and come to witness from my trip to South Africa. And it's the philosophy of Ubuntu, which basically means I am because you are. Without others, we cannot exist, we cannot establish our own individuality or even know who we are. To sustain and grow a relationship, both people must continuously reflect, adapt, and evolve. That is the essence of self-evolution. Lastly, and this is just honestly this is like the key of everything and like the crucial point of all of this. I don't believe there should be fixed rules or universal standards for how a relationship should be. Every marriage or relationship should honestly be defined individually by every couple themselves. Every couple should make up their own rules as long as no one gets hurt and everyone is genuinely happy with the situation. Let people define their own terms. I don't think there should be universal should or should nots in the marriage of two individuals. Life isn't static, it's seasonal. And just like seasons change, so can relationship dynamics change. And I think if we accept that truth and honor that truth, that relationship dynamics change, it will not always stay the same. It will not always stay the initial stage of honeymoon and fire and passion and spark. That the seasons and the phases of a relationship changes. Maybe a lot of expectations will fall away and it will be more easier to learn and to just adjust. A relationship should be allowed to evolve along with us. So thanks very much for watching this video. I hope you have found it interesting. I hope maybe you learned something through my own insights and my reflections. Feel free to like the video, maybe share it as well, subscribe, join the community, and let us all have raw, honest, and authentic conversations. And through that, reflect, learn, grow, and connect together. Thank you very much.